Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday. This is Jarrod Alberich, the yard sale artist. Going to do a quick little book page sketch drawing for you in one of my pop-up series. I'm broadcasting on my YouTube channel, on my Twitter channel, and on my Facebook channel. So I just want to say hello to everybody. Hope you're having a great day. If you're on my YouTube right now, I'd really appreciate it if you gave the video a like and, more importantly, subscribe to the video. But let's get on to today's project. I'm doing a book page sketch for a client. The busted book that I have is Star Wars Champions of the Force. And like I tell everybody, you see how it's got a messed up cover. It's got split spines in a few places. I think it had a couple of missing pages when I got it. I get these books. I find them in the free bins at Second and Charles. More importantly, I find them at my library in discount bins. So I take the pages from the books that are already damaged and I draw characters from the books on the books. And I had a client ask me to draw Wedge Antilles, and Wedge is mentioned a few times in Champions of the Force. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I've got my page that mentions Wedge on the page. I've done a quick pencil sketch for my basic shape. So now I'm going to go in and put down my line work. And then as you see, I've already got some Prismacolors selected to do some coloring. So we will get to that soon. Time to get to work. The music you're listening to, as always on my programs, is by my friend Joe November. Please check out his latest album. It came out this month, called Beats Without Homes. That's what we're listening to. It's available on all your finer music download platforms. And we love supporting Joe here on the program. So if you like those beats you're hearing, check out Beats Without Homes. It's available on, Apple Music and Google Play, all those places. You can check out Beats Without Homes by Till November, because it's a collaboration album between MC Till and my buddy Joe November. I hope everybody out there is having themselves a great Thursday. Right now I'm doing my basic line work using a Pigma Micron 5 pen. And we're just going to get these basic shapes drawn out. That is the basic formula for a book page sketch. Is step 1, basic shapes. Step 2, fill in the blacks. Step 3, add the color. Hello. I see a few people watching up there, and my my software shows me when I got people watching. So hello, everybody. Sound off in the chat. Say hello and ask questions. And, the topic of the day can be, who's your favorite Star Wars character? Especially maybe like a side character, since I'm doing Wedge Antilles. Who's your favorite side character? Not a main character. Put some thought into that one. I'd have to think about that. Favorite Star Wars side character. Be interested to see what you guys come up with. We just kick back, relax, listen to these sweet jams. Very rainy Thursday where I am. Gloomy and rainy and a little chilly out. It's a good day to be inside drawing pictures. As I've said before on many of these live streams, the trick to book page sketches is actually sort of counterintuitive to a lot of artists. It is less detail, not more. Find the basic elements that make the image and don't add more because the words already wash out a lot of detail. So I spend a lot of time looking at model pictures and then determining which shapes are really important. Pull off the piece. And I always just hope it works out. That's what I've got going on. Hey, I see someone dropping a like there on the Facebook, and I appreciate it. Jason, what's up? How's life? He says in the chat, it couldn't possibly be better, Jason. Things are just really going well. I appreciate you asking. I hope you're doing well too, buddy. He's coming in from Facebook. Formerly Rod Line from YouTube says, first John, now Jarrod. It's a streaming art kind of day. I did notice that John was streaming earlier. In fact, I do what I call streaming courtesy, which is when I'm thinking about doing a live stream, I kind of had all this ready to go earlier today, but I always check to see if one of my buddies, specifically John especially, is streaming, because I don't want to step on the toes. We don't want to both be streaming at the same time. So I checked and I saw that John was indeed streaming. So I said, oh, well, I'll put mine off until a little later. So that's why we're here. And Green Lantern HG says, am I still banned? You spell band like a musical band, though, GLHD. You're looking for BANNED, I think. Unless you want to start a band, which I absolutely will do with you. I think I want to play the tambourine. But no, GLHD, you are not banned. You're never banned. You're always welcome here. I got love for the GLHG. Especially since I now own every trophy that's available. Formerly Rodline asks, what platform is he streaming on? If you're asking about me, I'm streaming on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And John is, I'm not sure what all platforms he was streaming. I saw him on Twitter, and I assume he was on YouTube, so I would say at least those two. Right now, it's just line work, getting my shapes down. I'm at the trickiest part of line work right now, which is the eye. As we've talked about in other streams I've done, if you mess up the eye, the whole piece is kind of gone. So you got to be real careful with that. It's nerve-wracking, people. I think I got it. I think I got what I wanted there. I think I got what I wanted. We'll find out. These really all come together once the blacks start filling in. As anybody who's watched one of these streams will tell you. That's when the magic happens. Oh, checking the chat. GLG says, damn autocorrect. I know, man. Autocorrect will get you every time. Like, autocorrect just lives to ruin my life. So I hear you, brother. I hear you loud and clear. All right. Bring this down. So for those of you just joining, I see we got a handful of people that are coming in now. And I just want to tell everybody welcome. And we're doing Star Wars character today. I'm doing Wedge Antilles on a book page from Star Wars Champion of the Force, where he's mentioned a couple times. I made sure to get a page that mentions old Wedge. And if you want a topic for the chat, let's talk about our favorite side characters of Star Wars. And I'm not exactly sure who mine is yet. I'm giving that some thought, but I do want to hear from other folks and what their favorite side characters are. I might just learn something today. Let's see. GLHG says in the chat, I can't make it out. Something about I'm pretty sure I have all the trophies. Yeah, thank you for all the trophies, GLHG. I really appreciate that. Also seeing formerly or online. I'll ask you what I asked John. If you found an artist, trace another artist for the cover of a major comic book, would you call out the offending artist? Would you contact the artist who was traced? No. That's I'm not into the art police thing. Nah, that's just not me. Especially like, I don't know, those things bother other people a lot more than they bother me in some instances. Especially if like someone does a pose swipe, but it makes it maybe a different character, or kind of just puts a twist on it, especially then it really doesn't bother me. Anytime someone's trying to add uniqueness, but no, I've never been concerned about the whole pose thing. Because, I mean, let's be honest, there's only a certain amount of poses that can exist. And we have, like, gosh, dang near 100 years of comics now. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every pose that can be drawn has been. So, I don't know, just my opinion, though. Take it for what it's worth. And yeah, Rodline says he contacted the traced artist. You could do that, I suppose. Again, I don't get wrapped up about it. On my paintings that I do, my yard sale art paintings, I will often use models of other artists, but then again, I will often credit them as well. Like when I sign it, I'll sign it and I'll put after so-and-so on it. So that's my thing. I don't know if you've watched my first video on my YouTube channel. I love to find stuff at yard sales and then paint on it. And like when I see it, I'm like, oh, this drawing X or concept Y would look good on this piece. So, yeah, I mean, I'll admit I've outright used other artists' pose characters and stuff on the paintings before, but I always credit them. That's the right thing to do. Give them the credit. The hard part is when I find like a really cool thing that I want to use or a design that I like oh, I want to paint that on this surface. And then like it's not someone who's terribly famous. And I have to actually spend a fair amount of time like talking to friends and tracking down like who is this person so I can give them proper credit. I've done that before. But in the end, that's my final say. So it doesn't wrap me up too much, but I do want people to credit. I actually do. I lied. I have a little bit of a funny story to add to that. I did an Iron Man painting where I used an Iron Man pose that I really like by Dan Panosian. And it's always one of those nerve-wracking moments when you post the painting. And I always try to tag the person that I used for the reference in it as well. And that's like the most nerve-wracking moment because I'm always worried they're going to be like, oh, your piece sucks. And how dare you, use my reference. But like I said, I think it's the right thing to do to do your best if you can find out how to tag them and thank them or give them credit. And Dan was super nice. He was over the top. He was like, that's great. That's probably better than my original. Not even close, by the way. It was not even close to as good as his original. But I mean, he's just super nice guy like that. So I've had nothing but positive experiences brushing up in that realm. Hey, no problem, Ron Line. Noah the Hyper Potato asks, where is Dave? Dave's got one of them busy day jobs. So hopefully he'll be able to pop in. GLHG, how many of those comics are left? What have we done to preserve them? What if tracing was the way to preserve the art? Let's face it, it won't last forever. That's true. I mean, there's some comics that are gone forever, man. They are gone forever. And as a guy, like when I'm making comics, when I'm making indie comics, I am doing one of two things. I am either the writer on the comic or the inker, and sometimes both. I'm not fast enough, and I'm not good enough, I don't think, to be a sequential guy. And at 43 years old, I don't know if I ever will be. I also do covers because I can spend time on one design, but like the sequential guys, I just don't have the speed, and I don't think I'm good enough for that. But anyway, and since I've done a lot of inking for actual comic books too, that kind of I think it changes your perspective a little bit, because as an inker, you know, the old joke is, oh, you're a tracer, ha ha ha. I mean, there's a little truth to that, but there's also an art to tracing. It can be sometimes fun to take a drawing that someone else has done and trace it off in a pencil, and then see what you can add, see what you can, like, what your inks can do with that person. Just that's kind of a fun exercise to see what your inks can bring to that piece of art. So it's a good and valid question though, Rodline. And you let me run my mouth for like 10 minutes. And looks like Noah and GLHG have found each other in the chat. I love it. I love that there's friendships building around these live streams. I want it to be like that. I want it to be like a community of us. And it's fun to start recognizing the names in the chat. So appreciate all of you. I tell you what, I'll tell a funny story, and I don't know why. It's not terribly related to what you asked formerly, Rodline. It's just mildly related. So here it goes. I'll stop preliminarying it and give you the story. I was like, goodness, maybe 20 years ago, I went to a con. I think it was probably Heroes Con, but that's not important. I went to a convention, and I bought a piece from Dave Hoover. Great artist. It was a beautiful Black Canary piece. And again, keep in mind, 20 years ago, I'm in my 20s. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about art. I had this piece for like ever. And one day I decided, because we'd moved, I was in the military, so we moved a lot. We moved and we redecorated the house, and we just didn't have a spot for this really nice Black Canary piece by Dave Hoover. So I put it up for sale on eBay. I had it framed, and in a real nice frame, like custom framed and everything. And I put it up on eBay, and I was like, hey, I got this original Dave Hoover piece, good, happy bidding, And man, I got like the angriest message from this guy who was like a friend of Dave Hoover. And he was like, that's not an original Dave Hoover piece. And I'm like, I bought it from Dave Hoover. And like, because it's been 20 years, I'm going back in my mind, and I'm like, did I get that wrong? And the guy was, say, very aggressive, but I don't tend to be aggressive back on certain things. And that's one of the things I'm not aggressive on. So the guy was just like insistent, like very aggressive. I'm just like, am I wrong? No, I see a signature. It's not an original. It's a print. And I was like, is it? Because it'd been 20 years and I couldn't remember. I thought it was an original. And it turns out it was a print. As I examined it more, I was like, you know what? I think this is a print. So, I did the right thing. I took the auction down, and I wrote the guy back, and I said, hey, man, I actually appreciate you reaching out to me on that, because in my head, I thought this was original. And now I know for sure, yeah, it's a print. And the buyer would have been upset if they had bought that under false pretense. So you kind of saved my bacon there. I thought we'd mend fences, but no. The guy was like, you're a liar. If I had to call it out, you never would have changed it. You were out for the money. I'm like, man, I love the internet where everybody just assumes they know your motivations, right? And I had to laugh because at this point I'd sold like 3,000 things on YouTube or on eBay, I mean. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, you cracked my formula, buddy. I made 3,000 sales just to build up to this moment, to pull the wool over the eyes on one person. Some people are just crazy. GLHG asked, what age did you retire from the military? I was 30. I joined when I was 22. I spent 8 years in. Yeah, I was 30 going on 31 when I left active duty. And I loved it. Anybody who's been around the live streams will know that I am very, very proud of my military service. I loved it a lot. The people, man, the people I met, the friends I made, it made it all worth it. And there's a lot of great benefits too. A lot of great benefits. I mean, I got my college paid for. I got my undergrad college paid for, my master's degree paid for. I got tuition benefits for my kids. Like my kids will get free college. Free health care all that time. And just, it's a lot of people, people are people, like I was just telling my previous story. Some people want to be mad about stuff, but I look back at my military career and am A, proud of it, and B, I feel blessed to have had it. An absolute honor to serve. So thanks for letting me run my mouth about that, GLHG. Gino presents as Wedge. Frack him, you should have done Porkins. I love Porkins. He cracks me up. I mean, every time I see it on Star Wars, the original movie, they show Porkins. I always have to laugh because I'm like, okay, yeah, he's an out of shape, overweight guy. And they went all in and named his character Porkins. I'm like, that is such like maybe the most on the nose named character in all of movie history. But hey, man, I would not say no to a Porkins commission, but this one's all Wedge. This is what the client wanted, and I thought it was kind of fun because I mean I don't hardly ever get to do, the quote unquote minor league characters. And I am again interested. If you're in the chat, let me know who your favorite quote unquote minor league Star Wars character is. Because I've been like ever since I started this stream today, I've been kind of trying to think about what mine is, and I'm not sure. I might need a brain jump start from some of y'all. And by the way, welcome, Genome. Yeah, Rodline. The eBay story. I thanked the guy, and he still just kind of went all in. Like some people make assumptions, man. People make assumptions about your motivations all the time, especially like on eBay. Everybody's like paranoid because they've all heard horror stories of these terrible sellers and yada yada yada, and so like they think everybody's out to get them. And I'm like, man, I have been selling on eBay for literally 20 years now. With a really good reputation. So it always cracks me up when I get those people who just assume I'm out to get them. I'm like, no, look at my record here. You know what? That's part of why they call me the yard sale artist, by the way, because for 20 years now, I have been going to yard sales and Goodwills and things of this nature, mostly yard sales every Saturday. And finding items to buy on the cheap to flip and sell for profit on eBay. 20 years I've done that. Some of the stuff I keep, I got my own collections. Noah the Hyper Potato knows all about that. He's got some of the nicest collections I've ever seen. But it's all about being able to find it on the cheap and on the hunt. Hey, thanks to the Facebook folks who have stopped by and given us a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube and you want to give a thumbs up and give me a subscription, I'd really appreciate it. You're going to be seeing a lot more of these book page process live streams pop up. I've got my Tuesday night regular show with Mark Hatherley, where we just do art and chat for about an hour and a half to 2 hours every Tuesday night, and that's at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. if you're on the Eastern, 4 Mountain, and 3 on the Pacific. So GLHG, I know you're Pacific. 3 p.m. may be a tough sell for you, but of course we always have the replays available on the YouTube channel as well, so you can always catch up. Although I do like catching you in the chat. It's always fun to chat with you guys. All right. Speaking of chat, let me catch up. I got to run in my mouth, and let's see what I missed. Did you meet the missus while serving? Is question just she? No, actually, I met my wife in high school. Let me not lie. I met my wife in 3rd grade. We're both Army brats, and we were stationed in the same spot. And then we kind of moved away from each other, and then ended up moving back and quote unquote re-meeting each other in high school. And then we started dating, and it's still an ongoing thing, man. So she's actually been there for every step of my military process, from ROTC in high school to ROTC in college to my military career. And I always remember, man, the wives oftentimes have it the hardest. I mean, I'm off in Iraq doing my thing, and we just had our first son. You know, he was 4 months old when I left. You know, she's a new mom. She doesn't know really anything about momming. First time mom, and I'm gone. You know, it's tough. So hats off to the military spouses for sure. Oh, Rod says, thank you for your service. I was in the Air Force, Rod, and it was an honor to serve. Thank you for your kind words. I know Genome was in the Army, and Gino said the worst thing about Army was formation runs and ceremonies, bar none. Yeah, the Dog and Pony Show. The Dog and Pony Show. Yes, sir. I think I see Rick from Jeff and Rick Present has popped in. Say hello. Good to see you, sir. Representing that West Coast. And yes, Rick, Johanna, my wife, is still with me. We have had, like all marriages, the ups and the downs, but overall we've done pretty well. We have been married, see, this year will be 21 years this year. 21 years. And then we dated for 5 years before we got married. So we've been together for 26 years. I'm still waiting for somebody in the chat to tell me who their favorite, B team minor league Star Wars character is. Since I'm drawing Wedge, although I think we did get some Porkins love earlier, that's a fun phrase to say. We got some Porkins love earlier. I don't probably like one of the villains, that didn't get much screen time, like Bosk or IG-88. Or I you know what? I always liked Lobot. Lando's right-hand man who kind of looked like Principal Strickland from Back to the Future. Maybe that's just me, but I think he does. He's got them mad beats on. I did like Lobot. Of course, all my love for most things G.I. Joe and Star Wars really stems from the figures. I loved collecting those as a kid. Formerly Rodline thanks Genome for his service. Rick Heineken congratulates me on the 20 years of marriage. Thank you, sir. And GLHG says she deserves a medal. 26 years with Jarrod. Just go ahead. I'll tell you what, since you gave me all the trophies, GLHG, I'll give her one of them from you. I'm still ignoring your nonsensical responses. No, with a hyper potato, just so you know. Rick's got a Lobot love too. And Rick loves the entire Cantina cast. Man, I had that album, that record album when I was a kid. Man, I about wore out that Cantina's track. Man, I'd play it as my background music if I wasn't so sure I'd get some sort of a copyright strike. Speaking of which, if you're just joining us, the background music we're listening to is by a friend of the show, Joe November. I encourage you to check out his SoundCloud. Just go to SoundCloud and search Joe November, and you'll find him. And there's also a link in the notes there, in the show notes on YouTube. And more importantly, go to your digital music platform of choice and look for an album called Beats Without Homes. He's an Air Force buddy of mine, and we've been friends for about 20 years. And he's put out a great album. You're listening to it in the background. Please check out Beats Without Homes. And the cover art for the Beats Without Homes album was done by yours truly. So, I mean, there's tons of reasons to check it out. One of the harder parts about doing a book page sketch is this paper is very absorbent. So it tends to kill your markers a little fast, but, you know, that's okay. For a yard sale artist like me, I'll always find markers. But what it does is, because it does absorb, the paper is sort of porous, so it absorbs fast. You kind of have to move your marker fast. You can't linger, else it'll just start to fuzz out on you. And so that's why I'm kind of moving this one. It doesn't fuzz out as much with the microns, which is what I use when I get into, like, I got to darken in a real tight shape. Then I'll go to the micron, because it doesn't fuzz. So if I need to do a little bit of fine work, I use the micron pen. But when I'm doing more of the major fill-ins, it's your old friend the Sharpie. Rick Heineken recommends we look up a band called Twin Sister. It's a Star Wars themed band. I've done some podcasting with a guy from, well, he's an American, but he lives in Australia, in Bradford William, and he was in a ska band, you know, back in the 90s when ska was the thing. And they did a really cool medley of ska, of Star Wars music in ska format, and it's really cool. His podcast is, I'm going to remember the name of it in just a second. It's called... What is a Battle? What is a Battle podcast? So if you need to know more about that, you can ask him about it. Or we actually played it on. He was guesting on a Saturday Matinee Theater episode with us, and we play the track there. It's really cool. Genome says he really dug Peter Cushing as Tarkin. He didn't need to be a leering, jeering character to be a believable bad guy. Yeah, 100%, man. I'd still say he's not like a main character, because I mean he had a quasi big role in one film. So I'll give you Tarkin. In fact, we just watched Peter Cushing in Curse of Frankenstein. I think that's the one. Christopher Lee played the Frankenstein's monster, and Peter Cushing played Victor. We just watched that last week, I think. I found a really, the yard sale art story. Prepare yourselves. I found a really sweet 2 DVD set at Big Lots. It had Curse of Frankenstein and Taste the Blood of Dracula. 2 awesome Hammer horror films, and brand new in the store at Big Lots, sticker price $1.88, and it was 20% off your entire purchase day. So I got it for $1.88 minus 20%. I got both of those movies brand new, and watched those. I think both of those last week, or within the last 2 weeks. with my wife and my 13-year-old. It's so funny because my wife and I, we like love them. You know, my wife's a huge horror film nut. Like that's her favorite genre. And then my 13-year-old, you know, all these kids are so jaded nowadays. Nothing scares them or unnerves them. It's just like, oh, whatever, Dad. You know, he'll watch it, he'll enjoy it, but it's like to him, it's just so passe. I'm looking for where's my cardboard backers? I lost my cardboard backers. I blame Rick Heineken. Yeah, I found it. Okay. So I'm going to be doing a lot of dragging this black marker off the paper, and while I don't mind cleaning my table, I can spare myself the chore. I just put the cardboard backer down. These cardboard backers start looking kind of cool after a while with all the little splatter and marker and everything that happens. Let's see. Formerly Rodline says, I don't know the character, but in Empire, there's a rebel officer that finds the probe droid on Hoth. He's the one. His one line is, "It's metal." For some reason, that line has always stuck with me. Rick Heineken has to jet. I appreciate you stopping by to say hey and chat as usual. Rick, you are the man. We just about got our blacks filled in. Then we'll do color highlights, and we'll wrap this one up, which is good because I have to go pick up my younger son in about an hour. So I'll be able to wrap this up and then go get him. Just about got a bead on Wedge Antilles. All right. I see more people stop by from the Facebook channel. Give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you're watching on the Twitter and you want to give it a like, I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm all about some likes and definitely some subscriptions. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. I plan on having a lot of fun over here. Again, regular Tuesday night at 5 Central, 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain, and 3 Pacific. Myself and Mark Hatherley will be here just about every Tuesday night at that time, unless we're, family vacation or something. Drawing. Last time he drew an amazing, Incredible Hulk. Well, I did a commission I had to do Biggie Smalls, the rapper Biggie Smalls. I did that live on stream while he did the Hulk drawing, and man, that was a sweet, sweet drawing, and somebody nabbed it up by the time the stream was over. So that's Tuesday nights. Join me and Mark for some fun. All right. Now, my favorite thing that I've done here with the blacks, you probably can't see it on the screen, is I made sure that his name Wedge is not covered in black. It says Wedge right there, so that his name appears. It doesn't always work that way. I can't always make the art and the character I'm drawing work out that way on the page, but I'm very happy that it did for this one. Let's get to some color. start with skin tones. My base color for most Caucasian characters, I use light peach. And you'll see me come in every once in a while and get rid of a couple of the guiding pencil lines that I've left in from when I did the light sketch work before. All right. So a little light peach is going down here onto the skin tones for Wedge, Antilles. All right, and then I darken its secondary shade because I'm all about two-tone colors for those who follow the tone. Light peach is the base, and I use light tan over that to give it a shaded effect. So this particular piece, he's very much in shade on the left half of his face. So I will make that happen. And of course, under his lip. And he's got under the mask there. Speaking of his lip, I'm going to grab regular peach just to give his lip a little character, just to set that skin color up, because you know everyone's lip is a slightly different skin tone than the rest of their face. So I use regular peach on that. All right, with that out of the way, I'm going to check the chat before I do my next color just to see what's going on. Let's see. Genome says that one officer in A New Hope who went after Vader at the round table meeting was a hoot. He had no fear of Vader. It was pretty much the only character in the film other than Tark that didn't. Yeah, he was pretty funny, you know, talking about, you know, your old wizardry and sorcery ways, you know, haven't been able to do this, that, and the other. That guy was lipping off. But so they made an example out of him, didn't they? All right. Next up, we're going to bring in some dark gray. Everything, all the parts of his helmet on this side of his head are in dark gray, but there are some light highlights, and I'm just going to leave the page to be its own highlight. It's going to act basically as a white highlight over there. And this one kind of fades from a dark to a light gray. So I got a little light gray fade action going there. These are light gray highlights. This has basically one streak of light gray, and then the rest of it is dark. No, I don't have this memorized. I have taped up in front of me my reference picture. For those of you who think I'm just insane and I memorize these things. No, let me come clean. Let's see. This is a little more trapezoidal than I originally drew it. There we go. That's actually a black fill because I didn't give it enough trapezoid look on my first time I drew it. There we go. Needs a little curvature, give it a little character. Light gray. And it needs to be just a little line that does that. Perfect. Light gray. Like so. And then hit everything else with a darker gray. Oh, I'm sorry, GLHG. I apparently missed your background character choice, which is today's featured character of Wedge Antilles. Glad that worked out for you, buddy. So this is a, by the way, I keep saying light gray and dark gray. This is warm gray 70%. And then the light gray I'm using is called French gray 20%. I'm going to drop I see an errant pencil line I want to get rid of. I'm going to drop a light gray highlight there. And then the rest of it's going to be in the darker gray. Gives a little pizzazz to the helmet there. Now the helmet on this side, where it's catching the majority of the light, is a light gray. So I probably won't even use any dark gray on this one. So just be all light gray because this is where it's catching the light. Okay, we got the chin strap, which has a little bit of gray highlight to it, but it's mostly white. And his little microphone that comes down that he talks into. All right, I'm just going to fold the line around a little more so it stands out in the foreground. A thicker line will help bring things forward sometimes, so that's what I did there. And let's see, it looks like all I really have left is the orange jumpsuit. Jill, she points out that nobody has love for the Sarlacc pit. That's probably true. All right, I've chosen a Spanish orange to be the base color for the visor that we all know and love. It's sort of a yellowish color, but I think Spanish orange is because it's almost like a gold. So I didn't want to go too light, and I didn't want to go too dark because I know I'm going to need to put some dark highlights on it. And I'm also going to, again, cheat a little and let the page background actually carry some, just leave a little white, basically. Give it a highlight, almost a reflected look. There we go. There we go. That. All right. Now I've got another color. I use this color a lot to darken yellow. This is called Goldenrod. So there are darker portions. Oops, I missed one spot over here. There we go. There are darker portions in the mask over in, or the face shield over in the shadow side. So I'm going to put Goldenrod over them. And there's just a little Goldenrod that adds a little shadow under his eye. Just above there. And this entire highlight right here. There we go. Got a halfway decent looking mask at this point. And now we move on to the jumpsuit. These were real military jumpsuits, by the way, that they wore, these orange ones. Orange military flight suits. Obviously not as common. I was in a local Army surplus store because I live right by an Army base a few weeks ago, and they had one of these orange ones, orange flight suits in there, and I was like, man, I want to be an X-Wing fighter pilot so bad. Which could possibly bring up the next conversation topic. I think my two favorite looks for Luke Skywalker is I love Luke in the orange jumpsuit with the blue lightsaber, and I also love Luke in the black outfit from Jedi with the green lightsaber, like the black outfit as he's fighting at the beginning of Jedi. Well, at the end as well. So those are my two favorite looks for Luke. Do you like those as well? Are you a Bespin kind of guy? What's your favorite Luke outfit? because I do love the orange jumpsuit. Speaking of which, I'm going to use a Prismacolor called Yellow Orange as my base on that one. I'm going to use the broad tip just because I'm just doing some pretty big areas. And the only downside is it will probably drag a little bit of the black, either from the letters or from the black that I've already put down. But it's not necessarily a downside because it'll basically makes its own shading because it's dragging some of the darker ink with it. So it creates its own shading effect, which I think is pretty sweet. Let me check my chat. Star Wars monsters are awesome. Great asteroid worms. You got that right. Kraken style creatures. GLH. He's having a blast with Star Wars monsters. And why wouldn't you? All right, there's his orange suit. I messed up just a little down here and bled out a little bit, and I'm going to cover it up with a little black ink swoosh. But that's okay because it's going to help differentiate between that white vest thing. The line wasn't as thick as I would have liked it anyway, so that one worked out pretty well for me. I'm going to do that thing I do where I thicken the lines around the edge a little bit. It always helps to do that with book page sketches because it brings it up from the words. Looks like I already did it over here a little bit. Come back a little more solid. Boom. Speaking of which, I'm going to solid up the border lines. I think we've about got it. I'm going to bring goldenrod back into the mix one more time for shading effects. I said it's nice because the ink pole actually did a little bit of its own shading, but adding a layer of goldenrod to it will give it a little bit of a shadow effect as well. Especially like under his neck. And over here. Just a little bit right there. And I think after 53 minutes, one of my longer book page sketches, but we had a good time in the chat talking about things. I'm going to drop a signature on it. Not with that one, though. I'll use this one. Right over his shoulder. And there you have it. Wedge Antilles book page sketch from Page of Champions of the Force, which luckily has his name right there on it. There you have it, folks. I hope you dig it. Well, more importantly, I hope the client digs it. But the book page sketches are fun to do. I've got a lot of people signed up for those in my commissions list. If you want to be one of them, just hit me up at right there at Yard Sale Artist. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Any one of them will get you to me. Hit me up for one of these book page sketches. These are just $22, mailed straight to your door with free U.S. shipping. So if you're not in the U.S., let me know. We'll figure that pricing out. But a book page sketch is just $22. So hit me up at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Once again, please give this video a like wherever you're seeing it. A retweet would be wonderful. If you're on Twitter, a share goes a long way on Facebook. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, man, I would love to have your subscription. And that's going to be just about it. I'm Jarrod Alberich, the Yard Sale Artist, and you've been listening to Beats Without Homes in the background by Till November. Please go to your favorite music downloading platform and look up Beats Without Homes by Till November and support my buddy Joe. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for everybody who took time to chat with me. And I'll be popping up with one of these again sometime soon. I just know it because I got plenty of them to do. Anyway, Yard Sale Artist out.